welcome to a special edition of Disability and You. My name is Ganesh Singh, and I'll be with you for approximately half of an hour. On this edition, we'll be discussing the local government elections and voting and young persons across Guyana. With me is Anicia Zephyr and Rosemary Ramit. Anicia is from the Guyana National Youth Council, and Rosemary is from the Guyana Council of Organizations for Persons with Disabilities. We know on June 12th we'll be having local government elections, and we're here to encourage persons, more so young persons, to come out and cast their ballot and exercise their democratic right and participate in the LGE process. Anicia, Rosemary, welcome to the program.
Thank you for
so
having
much
us.
for having
Anicia, tell us about the work that you've been doing with your organization in partnership with the Guyana Council and other organizations to encourage young persons to come out and cast their ballot. Tell us more
Awesome.
about the work that you guys have been doing.
Awesome, Ganesh. Thank you for having me today. Okay, for starters, we launched our voter education campaign at the Giftland Mall on March 11th, which was very successful. We were able to meet a lot of young people as well as older folks. We were able to share flyers on local government elections. We were able to do a setup of a polling station, a mock polling station. And the event was very informative. After that, we would have set up stations at various markets. We were at Stabroek Market, we were at Kitty Market, Border Market. We also visited outer regions. We went to Lethem, Mabaruma, Port Kaituma, and we were to go to Madia, of course, during the same period that they had the fire. So that was a bit of sad moment. So may the souls
That
of
was-
those
that was-
children, yes,
And that was canceled.
yeah, rest in peace. So that was cancelled. Yeah, and we've been trying as much as we can to work and sensitize everyone on their ability to why is it important for them to vote, especially during local government elections, the regional elections, of course, but local government elections, which is pertaining to matters of your community, where you live and your surrounding areas, and who you want to support, who you want to stand and speak up on your behalf. So we've been sharing information all across Guyana, which has been very successful. We're continuing to do that leading up to local government elections on June 12th. So far it's been a great, and we're continue to do much more.
Excellent. Rosemary, anything to add to what Anissa would have said? Because I know you and your team would have been also conducting voter education fairs across Guyana and also some in-person sessions with young persons with disabilities. So tell us a bit more on where you guys visited and what an actual fair entails.
Okay, so like GNYC, of course, we collaborated with GNYC. GCOPD led on a number of mobile fairs also. So we went in Region 6, so we did Port Moran, Skeldon, Rose Hall, Rosignol. We did Monrepo Market, Mahika Market, Lusignan Market. We were also at Stabroek at the same
Yes.
time with GNYC. And we did Region 2, Saudi Market, Supanam, and Charity Market. What a mobile fair would entail is we have a number of volunteers. These are all young, diverse people, and they're all non-partisan volunteers from GCOPD and GNYC and Youth Challenge Guyana. And they would be walking around in pairs, distributing the flyers, the brochures, and so on with the necessary information, encouraging people to come out and vote, and also, clearing up any confusions that people might have about whether or not they need an ID card to vote, or whether or not someone who has a disability would be able to vote even though they're not able to leave their homes. So that's what the mobile fair has generally been about.
So what's on the flyer and what's in the brochure? Because you both mentioned flyers and brochures, but what are some of the information that is contained in those pieces of materials?
All right. So I'll leave Anisi to talk about the brochure, but the flyer has information about voting by proxy, and this is relevant to persons with disabilities or persons who are unable to vote on the day and they would still like to cast their ballot. That flyer had information relating to that. And Anisi could talk about the election
Yes,
facts.
definitely. So, Anissa, if you can elaborate on what's on the
And for the brochures, this was, as Rosemary mentioned, this is on election facts, like what you need to know. For example, she mentioned if you need an ID card, where you need to go for your polling station, and how you can find your name, what you need to get from the elections office, and these various
So where-
information, the age you need to be to vote. Sorry?
So where can someone find their name and know where which station they are expected to vote at?
All right, so they can either contact the GCOM office, which is what we've been advising people. Also, GCOM has their Facebook page where I know every day they're uploading information relating to that, and they sent out a flyer and a link on their page which has all of the polling places where persons could click the link and search for the information to see whether or not they're on the list of registered
Yes.
persons and where exactly their polling station will
And
be.
they can do so on the website too, the gcom.org.gy.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, persons are expected or to go to their usual polling place or at a prominent location in their communities
Yes.
and check that list.
Correct.
Excellent. Anicia, what are some of the other aspects of the voter education campaign that you guys have been conducting? I know the mobile fairs and so on is one aspect, but what else have you guys been doing to encourage persons to come out and be involved and cast their ballot on June 12th?
Well, we have been working with. We set up a page on our Facebook page, whereby young persons can sign up if they want to become a volunteer, to be a part of the voter education campaign. Once you become a volunteer, we would visit your community. And we would sensitize. We will teach you upon everything you need to know, and so then you now become a teacher of your community. Whereby, well, we're mostly teaching you how to be the leader of your community, and we're mostly working with younger people, so that when the older folks see, okay, well, good, this is a young person visiting me talking about voters education, when I, for one, would have already voted because I passed the age and what's not. So we've been working a lot with young people on how to sensitize their other colleagues, their other persons of their job, their schools, their environment. And we've been all across the country working with this, working on the voters education campaign, whereby when we sensitize the young people, they are able now to lead their community and inform their community on what they need to know.
So it's like training of trainers.
Correct, thank you.
Excellent. Rosemary, what about persons with disabilities? How are you guys working to get the information to them, and what other aspects of the voter education campaign have you guys been doing other than mobile fairs?
All right. So to reach persons with disabilities, we have been working to conduct in-person voter education trainings, and we have targeted specifically adolescents and other young people with disabilities, especially those who are often forgotten in activities such as these. And this would include persons with intellectual disabilities and persons who are deaf and persons who have psychosocial disabilities. In this case, young people were given a hands-on experience on how they can cast a valid ballot, what are the steps in the voting process, and how they can vote by proxy if they're unable to vote on elections day. What I know from the feedback that we have received is that this training has been especially successful
Yes.
because many of these young people have related that we never knew all of these things.
Yes.
And we never knew about the voting process, and no one ever showed us that, okay, this is how you mark the X to ensure that it's valid and things like that.
So there's a mock voting that is also done.
Yes, the mock voting. Yeah. Additionally, GCOPD has its Combating Disinformation campaign. This is where we have a pool of volunteers from across Guyana, and they are combing social media, all of the news sites, news blogs, other websites, anywhere that puts out information online, and they're collecting information that is being posted about the local government elections. And so what we at GCOPD, what we are doing now is looking for cases of mis or disinformation, and it could be information related to, giving people false information about maybe the date of elections or what are the requirements, things like that. And we have developed counter messages that we are now sending out on all of these platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc., to make sure that people receive the correct information. And of course, our information comes only from GCOM, because I know that we were in contact with Yolanda Ward, and she has provided us with all the necessary information.
Excellent. So explain a bit more, Rosemary, for those who the who might not be aware. Um, what are the available methods for persons with disabilities to cast their ballot for those who are unable to do so independently?
All right, so there are two methods by which persons with disabilities are able to cast their ballot. The first is voting by proxy, and this, as I mentioned before, it's where you are unable to vote on the day and you get to nominate an individual who who is on the same list of registered persons as you to vote on your behalf.
And is there a specific time period that you must apply to be
Yes,
to use proxy?
June 2.
June 2nd.
June 2nd is the deadline. So if you wanted to vote by proxy, you had up to June 2nd to send in your application. The second is most often used by persons who are blind or persons who are low vision to a point where they're unable to vote on their own, and this is voting with an assistant. In this case, you and the person who will be voting for you will show up at your polling station. You'll go through the necessary process. You'll be given forms 27 and 28, which are two oaths that you, the individual, and the assistant will have to take, basically saying that, I am unable to vote for myself. And the other person's oath will entail talking about, I will vote in favor of how the individual wants me to vote, and I will keep that vote secret, because that's very important.
Definitely.
One thing to note, though, is that the person who will be voting for you has to also be on the same list of registered persons as you, the individual.
So that must be at the same polling station.
Yes, you have to be at the same polling station. In a case where you don't have anyone, such as a family member or friend, who is at the same polling station, then the presiding officer can vote on your behalf. So that is the voting with an assistant.
So there are options for persons with disabilities who are unable to vote independently. And I know
Yes.
many persons with disabilities are aware, but I'm sure the young persons with disabilities who might be voting for the first time are not aware of these methods that are available, and they're enshrined in law for persons with disabilities who need assistance to vote on June 12th. Anicia, Rosemary, we're going to take a short break. Do stay tuned.